morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a new Vaporeon card. And if you're thinking, well, hang on a second, what's he? Isn't this just a continuation of the Flareon and Jolteon? Yes. Yes, it is. And it's very much like those Pokemon. And you've probably already guessed the ability. So let's get rolling, shall we? Translation by the lovely Antoine Boulet, as always. And what we have here is 110 HP, which it's a stage 1, it's a Vaporeon, it's not particularly good, but it's fine and we're not offended. Retreat cost of 2 gives us free retreat with Air Balloon, but we're not going to be playing Air Balloon. Or at least, we're not going to be attaching it to Vaporeon, not unless we're desperate. Weakness to lightning is not ideal. The good news is we got 110, so we will survive a hit from Vikavolt. But that's about the best we can say. Lightning's a good type right now. But you are a water Pokemon, and water Pokemon means you're hitting weakness against all of those fire decks using Welder, Center Scorch, etc., which are very relevant at the moment. It means you can use Frostmoth to accelerate as much energy as you like. So you know what? It's not bad. I quite like being a water Pokemon right now. I can think of worse types to be. Now, the attack, like with the other two evolutions, is not good. 2 energy, 70 damage, no. We just don't like it, right? It's not good enough, it doesn't do enough damage. There are other Pokemon we can use to do more damage. Nobody cares, let's move on. But we've got the same, or at least equivalent ability as the other two evolutions, and it's a great ability. What it does is, as long as there is a memory capsule attached to Vaporeon, all fire Pokemon in play have no abilities, and that is both your Pokemon and your opponents, so don't play this in a deck where you're relying on fire abilities. It will be funny, but funny in an, oh, I lost the game, I'm such a klutz kind of funny, not an actual, constructive funny. And basically, like we said with the other two evolutions, this really, really depends on what abilities are out there and what abilities really need to be turned off. It really is as simple as that. If there are a bunch of really, really good fire Pokemon abilities, you are going to be able to come along and go, ha ha ha, in your face. If there aren't, you can't. And honestly, of all of the typings we've seen so far, this is probably the least relevant of them. Now, there is actually one really nice ability you're turning off. That is the Ninetales from Team Up. Lets you discard a couple of fire energy from your hand, and then you get a gusting effect. But that's really fallen out of favour. The Welder Box decks, especially Center Scorch, just don't seem to be playing it. Having said that, we've all played against these decks when they are playing it, and they've basically got gusting as and when they want it, and that is harsh. That is difficult to get around. If you're looking at other really good abilities you're turning off, the Salazzle from Unbroken Bonds, discard a fire energy, draw 3 cards. That is a good draw engine. Turning that off could turn off your opponent's draw engine, and then that's kind of hilarious. And they probably are, honestly, the best ones out there. And they're relevant and they're good. Oh, Heatran GX. We should probably also mention Heatran GX. This does see quite a lot of play as a tech. And Heatran GX can basically move all the energy over to it, and then hit with Hot Burn to do 50 damage for each energy attached to it, which is kind of huge. The thing is, we mentioned this in the other evolution videos. They are linked in the description, incidentally. We need to remember that this is an ability that is relevant on your opponent's turn. Essentially, any ability that is relevant on your opponent's turn, they can get back. Because what ends up happening is, you get your Vaporeon, you attach a memory capsule, and then your opponent plays a Tool Scrapper, and then uses Heatran's ability. Now they've got to be playing Tool Scrapper, they've got to find it on the right turn, and let's face it, they're not going to have infinite ones of them, it's going to run out. But it does allow them to do it, as opposed to an ability that works on your turn. So, for instance, Curse Body. If this is Alolan Marowak GX, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an opponent's attack, the attacking Pokemon is now confused. Your opponent cannot guarantee that ability. because it's relevant on your turn. So essentially what you do here is you get Vaporeon up, you attack, and you will be able to get through that ability. If it's relevant on your turn, you can always get Vaporeon and turn it off. But if it works on your opponent's turn, they will have the opportunity to tool scrap and to get that ability back. Now, a quick reminder about Memory Capsule. What we've got here is a tool that functions in exactly the same way as Memory Energy did as an energy, or Shrine of Memories did as a stadium. It lets you use the attacks of previous evolutions. So the cool thing here is, sure, you're playing this to attach to Vaporeon to turn off fire abilities, but the reality is you'll end up going, oh, wait a second, I've only got one energy on my Center Scorch. Oh, this is really annoying. Well, at least I can use Center Scorch V's attack. It's not perfect, but actually, you know what? It will work. I can work with this. I've at least got an attack, whereas I wouldn't have previously. So cool things like that will happen. Honestly, Vaporeon is going to end up being kind of a 3 to 6 card tech, because you need to play the Vaporeon and the tool. But the reality is, if you can take a really bad matchup and turn it into a really good matchup, it's worth it. And I know Vaporeon's a water Pokemon, but it doesn't have to be played in a water deck. Anytime you're terrified of those fire abilities, and it's not just these ones, it's any revealed in the future, Vaporeon's got your back. And for that, I kind of love it. Now, like we did with the other evolutions, we're now going to go through a complete list of currently released post-rotation Pokemon with abilities that are fire type. Although there are fewer of these than there were for the other two, the water and grass Pokemon. So, we're not going to mention ones we've already mentioned for obvious reasons. We've already mentioned them. Talonflame, if it's active and damaged by an attack, you get burn. Well, get yourself out a Vaporeon, and there ain't gonna be no burn. Blaziken from Darkness Ablaze is both fire and fighting type, but it won't be if you get this rolling. And I like Blaziken, incidentally. It's a card I'm very fond of and I'm testing quite a bit at the moment. There's going to be a video about that card coming next week. We're also turning off the ability of Cinderace V that gives it free retreat if there is a stadium in play. So maybe you can trap it in the active. That would be kind of funny. We are turning off the ability here of the Chandelure from Rebel Clash. Pulled 2 of them from those Rebel Clash boosters I got in the double blisters. Kind of makes me want to play a Chandelure deck. And Chandelure is kind of a weird roundabout one, because Chandelure says you've got no weakness, but then Vaporeon will turn off Chandelure, which turns back on the weakness, allowing you to hit for weakness, which is kind of fun and a weird kind of back and forth. We've then got the Lampent. Now, this is Lampent from Rebel Clash with top entry. It basically allows you to get Chandelure into play more easily. If it is a card that you draw for your turn, you get to put it straight down as a stage 1. And bonus points for Lampent, it can actually use Duskstone, so you can get Lampent as your card for the turn, immediately play it down, and then use Duskstone to immediately evolve into Chandelure, unless there's a Vaporeon out. The Arcanine from Rebel Clash is really kind of cool. It's got an ability that says if it's got a Burning Scarf attached, it gets an extra 100 HP. So it goes up to 230 HP, which is frankly ridiculous for a stage 1 single prize Pokemon. So get a Vaporeon out, turn it off, you're good to go. We've then got the Cinderace from Sword and Shield. When it moves from the bench to the active, you can attach up to 2 fire energy from your discard pile. And this is the kind of ability that honestly just completely makes a deck, and turning it off can wreck the deck. Now, we've also got the Charizard that originally came around in Team Up, though it has been printed a couple of times. And this has got the ability whereby once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on it, and then search your deck for 2 fire energy and attach them. Given that the attack does 30 damage plus 50 more for each fire energy you discarded, and you got to discard all attached to Charizard, clearly this is an ability that makes the card work. Volcarona GX has a really annoying ability that lets you discard a fire energy from your hand and place 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. unless there's a Vaporeon out. Emboar, when you play to evolve, you look at the top 8 cards of your deck, and you attach any number of basic energy you find to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Really good for energy acceleration, and again, turning it off could be the thing that just turns the entire deck off and stops them really being able to do anything constructive. And that's largely what you're aiming to do here. You are trying to make it so that your opponent goes, well, that was my entire plan, what am I supposed to do now? And your answer is, well, honestly, you're supposed to lose, that's why I'm playing this card. The Victini from Cosmic Eclipse, once during your turn you may heal 20 from one of your bench Pokemon. I always expected this to see a lot more play as a random tech, it's just not doing it. Eevee from Cosmic Eclipse, all of your Pokemon GX that evolve from Eevee do 30 more damage, though this does not stack, it's worth pointing out. Again, if anyone starts playing decks of Pokemon that evolve from Eevee, this is going to be really good, but as it stands at the moment, nobody is. We've then got the Incineroar from Unbroken Bonds, which lets all of your Pokemon do an extra 30 damage. Yeah, that's right, same kind of ability. And then finally here, finishing off the very last one we haven't talked about yet, the Arcanine from Detective Pikachu. When it's active, all of your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. So again, get a Vaporeon out and do as much damage as you should have been doing anyway. This does not quite stop the level of abilities that the others stop, but make no mistake about it, there are some here that you could really, if you come against a Charizard deck, and you drop this down, they're going to lose. A deck relying on Salazzle or Ninetales, you are going to really hurt them here. But this is something to bear in mind, because any Pokemon in the future that is both Fire-type and has an ability, that ability can be turned off using this, and that could really swing some matchups in your favour. Let's go ahead and give it 4 Wassies, because even though it might never see play, the potential here and the amount of stuff that it could do makes it a very good card. So that's what I think about Vaporeon, but I'd like to know what you think. Which of these abilities are you looking forward to turning off? Which of them are you going to laugh and have a jolly old time when you do so? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. Even if you're turning off your opponent's abilities, we can still be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.